This is the 204th episode of CloudFocus, weekly or semi-monthly, for the last week of January 2015. This episode is titled Rapid Spring. CloudFocus Week is brought to you by Compliance Locker by Arkus. Capture all chatter posts, deletions, and files available for free on the App Exchange. Take it for a spin at compliance-locker.com. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me, fresh in the new year,
we've spoken since the new year,
is co-host Justin Edelstein. Justin, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Are you trying to say, no, we did a podcast this year?
It has been a while, because we have been.
You had the flu.
I had the flu. Oof. That took me out, and then we had
down for the count.
Yes, and then what else? What else has been going on? Oh, it's just been a really crazy kind of.
Well, it's beginning of the year stuff.
Yeah. Well, we have like the beginning of the year stuff that we do, like here at Arkus. We do like a offsite where we go and
executive sales kickoff.
Executive
Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, ours was actually in Tahiti. We're one-upping Hawaii.
Yep. Got some other exotic disease somewhere.
It's true. Yeah, so I think by that time I was just recovering, or did I get it? Yeah, I was just recovering.
I would hope so.
Oh, the flu is no good. And I had the flu shot, and I got I guess it hit me for like 3 days. But it was not fun. It was not a fun thing to do. But so we're back, and we have, the nice thing is about not doing the podcast is that you get a lot of stuff pile up. The blog never stops because many people blog and only few podcast.
No, can't stop, won't stop.
So yeah, I think from the blogging perspective, we are pretty like a juggernaut. From the podcasting perspective, because it takes the two of us individuals, it's tougher.
2 in the month of January is not great.
It's a tough one. Yeah. So, but we're back. So we have plenty to talk about. We have actually. We're going to make this all about Spring 15 because Spring 15 is launching now, like
coming to
next weekend and the week after. I mean, what are the actual release dates?
Oh, a bunch of my sandboxes that I've been playing around in lately are on Spring.
Well, there's February 6th, looks like.
That'll be next week.
So the first is February 6th, the 13th and 14th. So 2 weekends, everybody's going to get the upgrade. So it's literally coming next week.
Excellent.
I don't know where we are. I think we'll be on the 6th. Yeah,
so
but
we have 4 blog posts already out about it.
4?
We have 4 blog posts already
posted
and live on the internet. You know that thing?
The interweb?
Internet, that fad.
It's a series of tubes.
That fad has long been gone. But yeah, we have 4. We have a rapid reaction to the release notes.
Yes. I see here that it was published by Justin Edelstein.
It was. We have a why sales team should be excited.
Nice.
We have a service enhancements.
Nice.
And then we have an ideas being delivered in Spring 15.
And there's 2 more coming, right?
Yeah, there are.
Well, I'm writing one of them.
You're writing one of them, and there's another one that should be posted early next week as well.
Yeah, so that'll be a total of 6, or is there more after that?
Gonna have to go ahead and say I believe that's that for spring. It gets 6.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
All right.
It's a lot of content though.
So why don't we start, since this is gonna be all about Spring 15? Why don't we start and kind of go through them in reverse chronological order? Why don't we go in, since there's basically in every one they're picking something. Every one of the blog posts is picking a lot of things. Why don't we go through and pick one thing per blog post each, and then we can discuss them. Discuss
amongst yourselves.
Yes. Why don't we start with your blog post?
Sure.
The Salesforce.
I can't really recall if we talked about this or not.
I don't think we did, because we said we were going to talk about the next week, and then next week didn't happen for 3 weeks.
So I'll pick one that I don't think is covered in any of the other blog posts.
Sure.
Which is the first thing I mentioned, which is subscribe to receive report notifications.
Yeah, this is a neat one.
So I think this is pretty cool, where users can now sign up for notifications and stay up to date with specific metrics within a report.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the cool part about it, right? So you set criteria around what you want to be subscribed to or notified upon. And then you can define things like every time the condition is met or the first time the condition is met. So let's use a really simple example. You have an opportunity report and you want to know when the grand total of all the opportunities in the current quarter go over X.
Right.
You can get notified. So you can get notified via a Salesforce One notification.
Okay, less than useful.
You can get notified via a post to the chatter feed of the report.
Better.
You can get an email sent to you.
Really useful.
Very useful. And you can execute a custom action.
Ooh, like what?
Not sure what you would do there. I mean, a custom action on a report, I don't know what you would do, to be honest. Create a record of a notification. I can't think of it off the top of
Outbound
my head.
message?
I don't know what you would do, to be honest, but you can do it.
Well, don't be honest. Well,
I don't know what you would do. So, once you set up these subscriptions, you'll actually get another filter on the reports tab to show you all reports you're subscribed to, so you can go back to them, look at them, and change your criteria or unsubscribe or whatever. I think that's cool.
Yeah. So I wonder, do the reports need to be scheduled at that point? Are they scheduled reports?
It's actually a subscribe. It's a different button.
Okay.
So it's not a schedule, it's a subscribe.
So you can subscribe to a report that even isn't scheduled.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
I haven't done it. I haven't played with it.
No, I know. I'm asking the questions that if I were sitting there listening, I'd want to know.
I don't feel like it needs to be scheduled because it can happen at any time. This is like analytics in the background.
Yeah. I mean,
because it's a change event, right? An opportunity closes for $50,000 or whatever, and you're subscribing to say, show me whenever in this quarter it goes over $50,000. Well, boom, you're going to get a notification.
Well, that's the thing. So what I think is happening is it's basically another type of schedule, because once someone subscribes to that data in that report, then basically that report is now is being looked at more often, right?
I would say it's being looked at constantly.
Can't be constant, but it could be on a schedule, like every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, hour.
But everyone could be subscribed to the same report with different criteria.
Right, but it would still fire
events.
once every 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
Well, who knows how often it's going to fire?
My guess is hourly.
I was going to say real time.
No.
That was going to be my guess.
No way.
Why not?
Because it's just too much processing power. Well, this is why Salesforce limits you in having as many scheduled reports as you want.
I guess.
And scheduled dashboards. If it was real time, they'd open it up. Everybody can schedule 1 million dashboards. No. There's a hit to the service to be able to do it. My guess is hourly. I mean, if you're thinking about something, you're going from having to go back and check it or to get that report once a day to now you can it'll get within an hour. I think that's pretty good. I mean, I'd be happy with that. But we'll see. I think it's a great feature. Mm-hmm. Mine's more basic. This is kind of like one that I know people have asked for this, but I actually saw this in a sandbox the other day, and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat, which is the standard address fields now show Google Maps in line. Yep. So there used to be a package you could install, and you dropped a Visualforce element on the page layout that allowed you to show the Google Maps and of an address. But now it's kind of like just built in, straight built in. It is, as you noted in the thing, it is static, which kind of is weird because when you look at Google Maps, basically everywhere you look at it, you can always touch it and move it and shake it and go in or out. This is a static address, but I like it. It's kind of, again, it makes the data feel more real when you're looking at it. I could see it being something that kind of they make it a little bit better over time.
Right.
You could have a different zoom level. You could maybe have satellite or not satellite, because basically it's just taking a picture and it's putting it there. But I like that standard address fields show Google Maps.
Yep.
Cool. Well, that's 2 from the Salesforce Spring 15 rapid release. Let's go on to the next one. Why sales teams should be excited about Spring 15, written by the man who should never be mentioned.
Although now, if you look at it, you'll see his name.
Yes, that's it's always had his name at the bottom.
Right.
But now it's literally his name and when it was published. This was published on January 14th at 1:23 p.m.
His name is in lights.
Yes.
So he gives us 3 examples. So we'll each pick one and leave one behind.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick this sales path.
The thing I know, the easy one.
The thing I know the least about.
Oh, the least about? Okay, good.
I know a lot about the other 2. So I'll pick Sales Path, which is the thing that was demoed at Dreamforce. If you were if you were at Dreamforce at the Sales Cloud product keynote.
Yep, which we were.
Which you and I were, exactly.
At the final in the last row of the last section.
We were in the last row. We snuck in there. They were demonstrating this Sales Path feature, which is in beta, and I should also mention is only available on Salesforce One Mobile. So this is a mobile-only feature. Get used to that, folks, because things are going to start happening like that. This is not in the desktop browser, quote-unquote, Aloha UI. This is coming out on the mobile only.
But it's coming to mobile, to the regular UI.
Safe harbor. Don't know.
Definitely.
I don't know the answer.
Definitely.
But the notion behind it is that you have different sales processes like you do today. And within each sales process, you have like coaching or guidance to tell you what to do at that step in the process. And that's what Sales Path is all about. It leads you down the path of creating a successful, conversion or sale. So when you're looking at it when you're looking at an opportunity on, say, your iPad, because I feel like that's probably going to be the best way to look at this, not on the phone, you'll see a little thing across the top that will understand where you are in the sales process.
Based on stage.
Right. And I think even record type. So each record type can have its own different paths, which allows for some more flexibility. You'll see links or links to documents in Chatter or files or what have you that would help you and guide you towards actually closing a deal.
Well, it shows you my understanding, and again, I've seen it demoed and looked at the setup of it. It basically is going to highlight the stuff that you need to do or fill out in this thing, which I think
you're at this point.
Right. So it's great, actually. I mean, I have to write the blog post that's coming up. I'm actually going to be taking a couple of these because this is something that in a very complex opportunity system where you have many fields, and they are, I mean, I was looking at one the other day that probably had like 100 custom fields on an opportunity because it's just a lot of stuff they collect. But in different stages, you can, the way you do it now, either record types with different page layouts or put them in sections. There's a lot of, you put them in this section, this section, this section. This way it'll really highlight what you need to get done. So I think it's a usability thing, but it's also like getting people to focus in a training aspect to make it easier for someone to get up and running on an opportunity because they know that, these are the ones that have to fill out. So it's kind of a dumbfication. Having it only be on mobile to me goes from being I'm kind of excited about this feature to meh. Because again, I'm not anti-mobile, kids. I love me some mobile, especially as mobile Madden. But anyway,
here's my reason why they did it this way opinion. So my guess is that this was built in the Lightning framework. And the Lightning framework doesn't exist on the desktop. And until it does, that's when we'll get this on the desktop. That's my guess.
Okay.
I have absolutely no basis for saying that. It's just, if it's on the mobile, it, in all likelihood, is built on the Lightning framework, and I don't really see a reason why they would build it twice to then eventually have to retrofit it back.
Great. Well, that's a neat one. We're skipping over duplicate management, so because that's, I think, something we've talked about a lot. I think it's something we're going to talk about a lot for a long time because it's the coming of an age. But I'm going to go to the one out of here, which is work.com, which is getting more and more Salesforce-ized, which is nice. Actually, a lot of objects are getting a little bit of a, Salesforce standard objects are getting some love.
There's some core love in this release.
Well, but work.com, as predicted by the 2015 predictions from Jason M. Atwood, now we're doing thanks badges and skills are now included as part of a Sales Cloud user for free. So they're actually making more and more of work.com free.
More and more, meaning one more feature.
Well, yeah, but that's, and as badges in spring Did badges go? Yeah, badges went in winter 15, right? Went to a standard object.
Yes.
With standard behavior, and now they show up in your thing as thanks all the
Which is
time.
very weird.
I don't get it. Someone
My
please tell
recent
me.
items always has a thanks
And you know what?
badge in it.
I've never gone to research why. It just annoys me,
just
and then I'm like,
always there.
and I gotta go, and I always think, I should go figure out why, and then I get distracted. So like they're starting to sort of move it more into the core of the app, and as they do that, I think they're saying that the value of Work.com, which we are a safe harbor, or not safe harbor, full disclosure, we are a purchaser of Work.com, is becoming more integrating it into Salesforce. Again, there's no better prediction than to say Salesforce will buy product X, will charge for product X the year after they buy it, and the year after that they will put product X or pieces of product X into the platform for free, because that has been a very, very common theme. So anyway, I'm kind of excited because I love the concepts around Work.com. I wasn't crazy about the way it was integrated. There was some real some real things that were left out, and it's basically a matching of two things together, kind of like with duct tape. And sometimes that duct tape you could see it around the edges. And this is
they were stuck in a weird time. If we look back 10 years from now and look back on the Salesforce history, they were stuck in between Force.com and Salesforce 1. What I mean by that is they were kind of stuck in before they made the full commitment to Aura and Lightning.
Right.
They were getting platformized before that, and therefore we're in this weird framework.
Right.
That never really came to fruition.
And it's it actually goes back to, and maybe this is getting a little too deep, but it goes back to their application development lifecycle, which is agile and scrums are based in these sprints, and sprints change, and you never are planning out more than so much ahead. You're only kind of saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're going to do this and this. And so to sort of have 5-year roadmaps or whatever is more difficult, because you're doing sprints and then they do 3 releases a year. So that it always can change. And you see that happen all the time. They're going to do X and then it doesn't come out. Or all of a sudden there's something brand new come out because they got pushed in that way. Again, I'm happy because I love the concepts of Work.com. I think it has value. I think it is something that should be more and more built into the system, like Chatter is, like others. It just has that feeling to it, like ideas, like the idea of charging for ideas. Well, they used to, and now they don't, but they used to. I think in mobile, like they used to charge for mobile. I think it's something that adds more value when built in for free, and then you can have the the premiums, and if you want to do coaching and other stuff, maybe you pay for it, but. So that's coming in spring 15. I'm excited about that. And they're actually fixing some of the stuff that they kind of broke in some of the pilots. So,
Are you sure they ever charged for ideas?
Yeah.
I'm not certain that they ever charged for ideas.
I think they did very originally. No?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I do not.
Well, it was a license. You had to buy it.
Well, you
it
had
its
to
own
buy
license
a
type,
Salesforce
though.
license.
I think it had its own license type at one point.
I do not believe it
I
did.
think there was an ideas license.
No, I think there was a Force.com license, and I believe there was a portal license that you could use ideas with. I don't think there was an ideas license.
I think there was.
Well, we'll have to go back in the annals to look at that.
Make sure just don't. Okay, very, very good. Let's
Annals.
moving on. Don't say it again, please. Next up is Salesforce.com service enhancements.
Very
for spring
exciting.
15.
Service is
All
getting
right.
some love.
Yeah. So,
And once again, I'm going to go with the first one.
Wait,
I
who says
think
you're
it's-
picking first?
I always pick first.
Well, who says
I
you're
always
picking
go
first?
All right, you pick first. Go
I don't
ahead.
want to pick first. Go
All right.
ahead. No.
I'm going to go with the first one because I think this is going to be a super productivity tool.
This is cool.
Yeah, so this is...
I want this everywhere.
So let's say what this is. This is
What is
macros in case feed to work more efficiently.
Macros.
So this is an idea that, from what I understand, Zendesk has had for a while. When people move from Zendesk to Service Cloud, they miss their macros.
Oh.
That's why they're always looking for success stories. Hey, has anyone moved anyone off Zendesk onto Service Cloud, so that we can tell that story? And when people move, they get it's like the idea of a macro doesn't get translated well in the discovery, so it seems like it's just workflow, but it's not. It's
Right.
So the idea of a macro is, the best way for me to describe it is like a flow, actually, a headless flow that can be kicked off by a support agent. And basically they can say, click a couple of, actually like using command keys, and kick off a series of tasks that happen. So they can take a case and hit some command keys or click to run a macro, and all of a sudden a status will change, a chatter post will be posted, and an email will be sent out to the contact on the case and be logged as an activity, all in one fell swoop, instead of having to click all the buttons to do all of that stuff. Right. They can define their own macros. Administrators can define global macros. This is a great not only productivity enhancer for a support agent, but something that, and I think Service Cloud has been ahead of the game on this the whole way, with just pushing the platform as like Service Cloud, the product, is to me always a little bit ahead of Sales Cloud, the product, when it comes to like console, case feed with feed first.
We just talked about one that actually is ahead on the other side, which is the now I'm forgetting the feature, the sales path.
Well, yeah, but sales path is very salesy, right?
Yeah, but you could see that be like a support path.
True.
Right? Same thing. You're in this part of this case. Here's the stuff you should be focusing on. So, I mean,
I think Service Cloud's been ahead on a lot of things, pushing the platform.
Yeah,
but
I think there's stuff like in opportunity history, and stuff like that only exists in opportunities. Anyway, I'm not going to argue.
Doesn't matter.
There's
There's a macro widget.
I'm sales. You're a service.
It'll be a macro widget that will be available within the console. You can select, run these macros, and you can actually watch everything happen in front of you as you're running the macros, which is kind of neat. So macros, get ready, service people. Macros, get ready to build some of those out. Again, think of them like headless flows.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to break it down for an administrator, I say it's like workflows that users can set up and share amongst themselves, that you don't, as an administrator, have to set up.
That are daisy chained.
That you can daisy chain. Right, so it's like them saying, hey, you get workflows, but now you don't have to send them up and under setup and config. You can set them up in front of, you can share them, you can kick them off, you can sign them to key commands. It's like personalized workflows, I guess, if I were going to easily say it. All right, I'm going to pick, as I cough.
Still got the flu there?
No.
A little bit.
The throat's getting a little dry. It's been a while. I'm losing. We haven't podcasted in a while.
It's true.
Social customer service. Now, this is one of those things that I feel like I have not got my hands on this. So everything I say that's absolutely wrong, please hold against me, or hold against Justin, or hold against me. But this is something that like has been a product, has been an App Exchange product, has been like, I feel like it's been floating around for years as something. There's been solutions to this. It's something that I feel like they demoed like at Dreamforce 4 years ago. It's like, look, you're in your thing and you're answering stuff right from within Salesforce. There used to be a package, the Facebook and what was it called? Facebook and Twitter or social.
It was like Salesforce social.
It's still in our org
something.
somewhere. We got to
We got to get that.
Get rid of that. But what it used to allow you to do was sort of integrate your.
It was Twitter and Facebook pages.
Posts, and you could pull them in. They'd come in as objects, records as objects, and you could respond to them. They would post back to the things. You could turn them into cases. But they basically productized this and pulled it in as a actual product within Salesforce. So you can now basically, just like you can kind of do it with emails, where you can, there's emails kind of built into cases, and you can reply to it, and you can kind of interact from an email level. Which is different than anywhere other place in Salesforce, the incoming and replying to. Now you can kind of do that with Facebook and Twitter.
Yep.
Right within the case.
Without a Radian 6.
Without Radian 6.
Without a Radian 6 license.
Right. So this is cool because, again, where's the world going in terms of support and thing? This is another example of Radian 6 just getting pulled, like a piece of it pulled out and stuffed into just put it into Salesforce. You're making hand signals. Now, question: do you need to have Service Cloud to have this, or does this work with any?
That is a great question. I think you need Service Cloud for this.
You need a Service Cloud. This is another sort of step up into Service Cloud. This isn't just if you have cases, you can do this.
No.
Okay.
So that I actually was talking to someone recently and was running a user group meeting all about Service Cloud, and I was talking to him more in depth about it prior to the meeting just to get a better understanding of like where the breakdown is, because there's Sales Cloud, which includes some of the Service Cloud features, like primarily cases.
Right.
But then when you go to the Service
solutions,
Cloud,
everybody loves a good solution.
But when you go to the Service Cloud, you get an exponential amount of features added onto it, starting with the console, and then all these other features that we've been talking about here. And the ability to do like live agent, and there's a couple of other things that are on the roadmap that I probably shouldn't even talk about. We'll leave those off.
Good job.
Sorry, I just started down a path and then realized
you didn't safe harbor this whole conversation.
Well, we've been talking about things that are actually in release notes. I was about to talk about something that wasn't, but I won't. But you can probably figure it out.
You probably can. All right, and then that brings us to our last blog post, which just went up yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Called "Ideas Being Delivered in Spring 15."
Yeah, and this is not all of them.
No, because there are a lot.
No,
it's over 100.
Over 100. So I think Ashley, who wrote this, picked a bunch or a few. And why don't we talk about it? I think she broke it down into like a couple of different sections, like objects and process builder. So process builder itself, being generally available, covered a bunch of ideas. So why don't we just say process builder is becoming generally available.
Yeah, it's going to cover
and is going to change the world of workflow.
Yep,
forever and always. Maybe not always, but forever.
So
I'll go ahead and pick one of those. Actually, you know what?
I'm in the Addy exchange, and I'm just going to pick another one. But go ahead.
Pick another one?
Yep.
Okay. I will pick one of hers because she took time and did some of this stuff. So I'll go ahead and pick the customize the condition logic and process builder.
Oh, okay. So
basically, and I'm going to actually open up the idea so I give the person whose idea this was some credit. So Mary, who we know as an MVP, wanted to be able to, similarly to reports or other workflows, have the ability to have some control over the selection logic within an action group within the process builder. So she wanted to be able to use like simple and or criteria, 1 and 2 or 3, and basically you were unable to. You always had to do 1 or 2 or 3, or 1 and 2 and 3. So it was either ands or ors.
Right.
So being delivered in Spring 15, you can customize the condition logic, much like list views, workflows, reports, so on and so forth, which is nice. You should be able to do that. That's why things are in beta and pilot, right? That's why things come out and aren't ready for prime time.
There are a bunch. The one that as a longtime Salesforce person, the one that I'm the least excited about, maybe I'll do least excited about.
Yeah.
Assets becomes a real object.
I wrote about that.
And gets a tab.
I wrote about that in my
and
review.
isn't just a child of accounts anymore. I mean, maybe it makes it a semi-usable thing. I don't know. Assets are not something that I've used very often. I usually immediately hide them and get them out of there so people are not like, what's an asset? Don't touch it. But it's nice to see, again, an object that you kind of felt like was, on the chopping block, about to get its head chopped off and get one of those emails, coming in summer 15, assets will no longer be available. Sorry. So it feels like, you either get one of those emails, or you get the email that says, or you can see it in the spring, the release notes. It's like, oh, we're actually gonna pay attention to this object now, which is good.
So I'm gonna take what you just said, and spin it into a whole other conversation
about field history tracking.
Yes, but first,
how did I know?
You did. But first, I'm gonna say one more idea that just because you and I needed to circle back on this, which was the ability to create custom lookup fields on activities. Is marked as delivered in spring 15. It was in like a private or in an open beta from winter 15. So we were right. We saw that. It just was a beta. So now it's delivered in spring 15. You can have custom lookup fields on activities.
So remember when we said that and we said it was coming?
Remember? Yeah, now it's coming.
So
go ahead. That was an idea delivered. Thank you, David Enzer, with 18,810 points. Actually, from 8 years ago, this idea. So believe that an 8-year-old idea is being marked delivered in spring 15.
It's funny because in the idea exchange it actually says 82. They're showing up in my list of ideas that are delivered in spring 15. So I don't know why it says hundreds, but whatever.
Fact checking.
That's me. So what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about field history tracking?
I think you had something that you kind of wanted to talk about with. It
sounds like a setup.
It is a bit of a setup. So we got an email 2 weeks back. Between the time when we last recorded a podcast and this recording.
17 years ago.
So about 17 months ago, we got an email saying that Salesforce is upgrading or updating. It was one of those two words. You can take it either way.
It's bait and switch.
The way that they do field history tracking to increase the number of fields per object that from 20 to 60.
So this is the Mary Poppins.
Go ahead and explain it.
Mary Poppins, which is a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. So a couple releases ago, if you remember, there was something that came in one of the releases that said that they were going to start to limit the amount that was tracked, and they said they were going to do about a 12-month or 18-month limit for field history tracking. It was going to hit one of these releases.
Mm-hmm.
It obviously pissed off somebody.
That happens, by the way.
Oh yeah, it did, and they pulled it. They said, "Oh, we're going to reevaluate." Right. And that was like a couple releases ago. I don't remember which release, but I remember reading it, going, "Ooh, people aren't going to be happy about that." And my guess is that someone from a company like the company we used to work for said,
one of those biggie wigs.
Yeah, it's like, we're paying you like $100 million a year. You're not going to do that. Sorry. Or not $100 million
Sorry,
a year.
because if we hosted this ourselves, we'd never do that. Blammo.
Private cloud. So anyway, it got pulled. And so this is the new iteration of that, which is now... I think they're doing a double. They're doing a double thing.
A double dipper.
And I read it, and I read it again in the release notes, and I probably should have it in front of me. I don't, but maybe we'll talk about it in subsequent podcasts. But it sounds like they're doing a little bit of, one thing is you can only track 20 fields per object. So
that is current.
That's current functionality. So what they're doing is saying, I think it's going to 40.
I thought it was 60.
Okay,
let's say 60.
Let's
I could
split
be
the
wrong.
difference, 50.
It's some number greater than 20.
Right. They're going, hey, guys, you get more fields to track.
Right.
And then, kind of under the breath, but it's only going to be for a year. And then if you want to track it for longer, you got to pay for it.
Right.
And so...
but you could keep the 20 that exists today if you don't want to opt into the new.
Right. If you don't
want the new, shiny new feature.
Yeah. Which, by the way, will be a critical update that you'll have to do in 6 months anyway.
I mean, we don't work in an industry, the two of us, where we require the need to track the history of more than 20 fields on any given object.
I ran into one the other day.
No, you and I personally.
Oh, no.
Our business.
No, but I was in a client 2 days ago, and I went to go click a new field because we added a new field that had some ability. I wanted to be tracked. I went to click it, and it said, "You're at your limit." I went, and then I had to go unselect two others. Actually, it was on an opportunity, so I unselected close date and stage because they're already because they're already tracked. They're already tracked in opportunity stage history,
right.
So you don't need to track them twice. And I put these other two new fields. I thought, ooh, that's like, I usually say it. I don't run into it that often.
I've always wondered where the crossover between those fields that you're tracking are and the chatter feed tracking. So, for example,
Yes.
this podcast is sponsored by Compliance Locker.
Yes, it is.
I mean, for example, if you're like tracking feed, if you're doing feed tracking on these 20 and field history on these 20,
Right. In theory,
might
you got 40.
in theory have 40? I don't know.
In theory, but remember, in the field history tracking, you can write reports with Boolean logic. If field went from this to this, put this in a report. You can't do that in Chatter. And even with Compliance Locker, you can't do that at all. You're shaking your head no violently, but you're drinking.
Violently.
Okay.
That was violent.
So I will say out of all the out of all the things that I get testy about with Salesforce, notification banners, this is not one of them.
I was in an org the other day that had notification banners turned on. I was really surprised.
I've gone into
jarring.
I've gone into about 5 brand new orgs in the last week, which is crazy. And they've been, and every time I'm like, why is this thing on? And I get all
This
upset.
was like an older org.
Yeah.
And it was someone who I would have thought would have turned it off.
I don't think people know. I think people think by clicking the little X that you're turning it off, but they're not turning it off for the org. They're just saying it for themselves. Anyway, such a bad mistake. Still a bad mistake. But anyway, I kind of get this because it's generating a lot of data, right? And that data has to be stored somewhere.
Got to be somewhere, and it's reportable data.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like it's almost like activities. You know how activities go into an archive state after 12 months?
Are visible in the UI, but not. Where
are
they really?
No.
Where are they exactly?
You don't know. You don't
Somewhere.
know. So I think what's nice is at least they've given there is an out. Now it's a payout, which I'm again I think they're saying, listen, it's storage. It costs us money. If you want it, fine, keep it, but you're gonna have to pay for it. I'm hoping it's reasonable. It'd be nice if it actually was just based on volume, meaning you just signed up for this, not like a per license per whatever, but just volume, because it's just data volume. And you just said, how much do you want? Like, oh, you want between one gig, between 100 megabytes and a gig, that's $20 a month. Between a gig and 5 gigs, that's $100 a month. Between 5 gigs and 3 terabytes, that's $1,000 a month. That way, because it could just scale with the solution, so you could just get what you needed, as opposed to again, I'm sure the way they're gonna do it is it's a per user per month thing, and then it maybe doesn't make as much sense.
All right.
Anyway, cool. Well, that wraps us up for the Spring 15. We do not know what we're gonna do next time. I feel like we owe like some kind of special podcast, very special podcast.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do that. So I feel like we owe a comeback to like a movie / TV episode or something kind of fun that we haven't done in a while. When they dig into our lives. But let's dig into our lives now with the CloudFocus app pick of the week.
Okay.
I will let you go first for the first time ever.
That's not true. So someone sent me this. I haven't tried it. Seems extremely useful.
This is 75% of all your picks are. I haven't tried this.
I crowdsource my picks.
Yes.
So this just seems really useful. It's called Salesforce Switch.
Okay.
From the fine folks at Tequila, whom some of which we know from the MVP program.
Okay.
So what they did was they built. Now think about. I want to think through this first with you. Think about migrating data into an org that has a ton of workflow rules and a ton of triggers and a ton of stuff going on. Validation rules.
Yep.
So Salesforce Switch is the ability to, you log in. I believe it uses Heroku. Yeah, they tell you Heroku. And the Salesforce metadata API. I don't know how it auths. I imagine it's an OAuth. But basically, it pulls back to you your validation rules, your workflow rules, and your triggers on any given object. And it has a quick toggle to disable and re-enable the workflow or the trigger or the validation rules. So you can very quickly turn things off through the through the metadata API, load up your data, move your data, do whatever you're going to do with your data.
I love moving my data.
And then turn everything back on.
It's very, very useful.
Very smart.
Very smart.
Very useful.
Wish I'd come up with it.
Built it in Bootstrap. Looks pretty cool. Very, very good idea.
Is it scaring you that I'm logging into our org right now to use it?
A little bit. Very, very good idea. Find folks at Tequila. Very, very cool. We like it. Thank you very much.
Metadata. Querying metadata. Building a list of validation rules, workflows, and triggers.
There you go. So you're using it right now.
If you like tequila, I don't know. That's why that song is coming to my head. Something. Why is that song? What is that song?
If you like pina colada?
Yeah. Why is tequila and pina colada?
That's you, man. I don't know.
It's all me. All right. Well, I'm querying the metadata while I make my pick. Cool pick. Free. Free as in free.
Yep. And these folks are from the UK.
Nice. I like it. Good job. Good pick. Mine has a little bit of whatevs for what's going to happen this weekend. If you do not live on this planet, you probably don't. Ooh, look at all disable all these. That's very cool. That's really cool. Well done, guys.
Very well done.
Oh,
good
really
job.
Well done. Anyway, but so this weekend is Super Bowl Sunday, the national pastime of most Americans. So everybody will be eating and drinking and betting about the Patriots versus Seahawks. But for the first time ever, I think, the Super Bowl will be available streaming. And the only way to watch it streaming is on the Nbc Sports Extra application. I'm picking the one for iOS. I've actually used this app for a long time. They've had their Sunday night games on this app for a long, long time.
Right.
And
with different camera angles and such, right?
Well, no, not the app. That's if you go online, you can do the different camera angles.
Oh.
The app just allows you to watch it. But it's nice, again, we're getting to this weird world where TVs and iPads are kind of merging because you can almost watch anything on, and we didn't do our CES episode because I was sick, but there's something about, and there's a new cable service that's a streaming cable service. That's all, it's just cable, but it's streaming, all of it, with DVR and...
Do you know how angry I was yesterday?
Yeah.
So I realized...
So angry to interrupt my awesome pick?
Yeah.
All right.
I realized that my TiVo didn't record the new episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, no.
So angry. But I was like, all right, no big deal. There's FX Now on my Apple TV. So I go and I click and it's like, oh, go activate this. I guess I never did this before. So I went to activate it and then it's like, log into your cable provider. And my cable provider wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know how angry I get when that happens?
A lot.
Why? Why?
Change cable providers. You don't want
so
it, do you?
annoying. So annoying.
Sorry, RCN.
I hate that.
Anyway, so NBC Sports Extra for iOS, it's you can download it and you will be able to watch the Super Bowl on your mobile device, which would be cool if if it's halftime and you got to go from one house to another. You can just watch it as you walk across the street, which I might be doing. You could have it in multiple rooms. You could put it on another TV or again our iPads. It's a great app. I've been using it to watch. It actually streams it very well. It's not as good as ESPN Now's streaming. I'll say there's definitely streaming levels, and the way they do commercials, I don't know how they're going to do it this time, but they don't do the commercial. They do their own NBC streaming commercials. So sometimes you can be watching NBC Sunday Night Football, and you'll see the same ad 3 billion times because every time they cut to commercial, they show you the ad, and so you literally you just want to blow your brain out because it's the same ad over and over and over again. But anyway, NBC Sports Extra for iOS, free by NBC Sports, available I think for everything in the world, but I'm picking the iOS version. That's my pick of the week. All right, we'll wrap it up this week. You can follow Justin at Just Edelstein on the Twitter. I'm Jason M. Atwood. You can follow the company at Arkus Inc. on Twitter. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/Arkus Inc. We're in the Success Community Group. We have our own group, our own chatter group in Success Community. We're on LinkedIn, Google+. And remember, if you want to subscribe to the podcast, best way to do that is through iTunes. That'd be a good way. Or you could just subscribe through Stitcher. Stitcher is another podcasting service. Or if you're using any of those apps, you can also subscribe that way. Until next week, it's Justin and Jason saying enjoy those cloudy days.